Hi guys, Pax at Bonum. So today we will be having a new topic and it is called relational operators. This relational operators lesson is part of a very long lesson which is called conditional statements. So our learning competencies today are to identify relational operators. We will also predict the truth value of a given relational statement. The third one should not be here. We will do that on the next meetings. So you have two learning competencies that we will be doing today. Now, for the motivation part, let's just have this question. Are you truthful? Because um, statements that we declare um, they have a truth value of being true or false. As an example, let me show you this. Let's say I will give a statement. Your teacher is Sir RJ. Now that statement is true. Another one is Sir RJ is a female. Now that statement is false. And the same is true for any other relational statements. Um, like, for example, I am hungry. That's true. Or I am sleepy. That's false. I live in Mars. Again, that's false. So these statements, normally, the statements we provide, eh, they have truth values in them, except for propositions. Anyway, I think you will learn more on that in your English subject. But since we are talking about programming, I just tried to use English statements so that you will have an easier time understanding a truth value of a statement. In programming, the the answers true or false are actually values. True, you can relate it to a number value like 1, and the false is 0. Basically, they are values and their data type is boolean. I just remembered, you might be familiar with the term binary. Binary meaning there are only two values, either 1 or 0. So that 1 and 0 is actually true and false. These two values are used in programming to make a fork along the road of our codes. And if you can remember, we already used that during the lesson about confirm boxes. So remember, in the confirm box, there's an okay, there's a cancel. So something will happen if you click okay, something will happen if you click cancel. So there's a fork. We can deepen that using the lessons that we will have from here onwards. Now that fork is to provide options where our code needs to go. Let me give an example. Um, how does an electric thermometer know if a person has a fever? Of course, the thermometer will read the temperature of a person. Now, hey, wait, I have a picture here. There we go. It will read the temperature of a person, and then once the temperature is read, like for example, the number here is 36.4. So that value will be saved inside a variable. Like in the case of JavaScript, this is just an oversimplification of things. So let's just say that the value 36.4 will be saved inside the variable temp. And then the machine, the thermometer, will check if the variable temp is greater than 37.5. Because if it is greater than 37.5, it will make the lights go red. I'm sure you understand the flow of things, but in programming, we have to be specific. We have to go into details. Like, mathematically, how will we be able to state that a given temperature is greater or equal to 37.5? And I want you to think about that. Pause this video for a moment. Think, how will you be able to state mathematically that a temperature is greater than or equal to 37.5? Let me give you a hint. Remember your lessons in grade school about inequalities. Or if not in grade school, at least in grade 7, I think you have that inequalities during that year level. And the answer to that is we can compare, using inequalities, we can compare a temperature, let's say temp, we can compare that to the value 37.5 if we will use the symbol greater than or equal. Okay? So as you can see here, we use this symbol, and that is our relational operator. And aside from this greater than or equal symbol, we have different relational operators that we use. But let's try to figure out first, what is a relational statement? A relational statement compares two different values. In the example earlier, we have a temperature that was read and a value 37.5. So these two values, they are being compared to each other. And the answer to this statement will only be either true or false. So going back to the example, our temperature has a value 36.5. 36.5 greater than or equal to 37.5 is actually false. It is false because 36.5 is smaller than 37.5. It's not greater, it's not equal, but it's smaller. So again, like a declarative statement in English, in programming, when we compare two values using a relational operator, we will be able to get a value that is either true or false. Now, a relational statement is more commonly known as a condition. And you will hear this term condition more often And at least in my class, you will hear this more often than a relational statement. So example, I have two values, 10 greater than 50. The truth value of this statement is false. But if we change the operator, if we say 10 is less than 50, now the answer to this is true. Now there are other relational operators that we can use. We have the greater than, we have the less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal, we have equal, and not equal. Let's try to use these different relational operators. Let me show you. So again, a relational statement compares two values. So you will always have two different values and an operator, a relational operator at the middle. So greater than, using greater than, let's compare. Is 1 greater than 5? True or false? The answer to this is false. The answer is, wait. The answer here is false. 7 less than 7, again, the answer to that is false because 7 or a number is not less than itself. A number will always be equal to itself, but not less than, not greater than. 6 greater than or equal to 6, the answer to this is true. It might not be greater than itself, but there is the equal sign here. So it is asking if it is also equal. The answer is true. 1 equals 1, that is true. Last one, 5 is not equal to 5. The answer is false. Why? Because 5 is equal to 5. When we ask using a not equal sign, we are looking for values that are not equal to each other. So for example, 5 not equal to 6, that is true. Or 1 not equal to 2, that is also true. But if we say 3 not equal to 3, that is false because 3 is equal to 3. All right, moving forward. We can also use variables to compare with numbers or other variables. So let's say we have declarations A, B, and C with their respective values. So let's try to find the truth value here. What is A greater than B? So let's check. A is 1, B is 2. So we are asking if 1 is greater than 2. And the answer to that is false. What is B less than C? B is 2, C is 3. So we are asking if 2 is less than 3. The answer is true. C is greater than or equal to B plus A. So now there is an arithmetic operator plus. So we have to determine first the value of B plus A. B is 2, A is 1. So B plus A is 3. And C is also 3. So 3 greater than or equal to 3. Since there is an equal, the answer is true. C is less than B times 2. B is 2 multiplied by 2. So that is 4. And C is 3. So 3 less than 4, that's true. A is equal to B. It's an easy answer, that is false. A not equal to C. A is 1, C is 3. They are not equal, so that is true. Now, comparing different strings. And earlier, we compared numbers. So right now, we will compare strings. So the first one, hi, capital H, small I, is equal to capital H, small I. This one is true. For the second one, the result will be false. Now you might ask, sir, house is equivalent to house. They are worded the same. However, in programming, and especially when we deal about strings, they are case sensitive. So a small letter O, U, S is different from a capital O, U, S, E. So this house with one capital H, the rest lower caps, different from uppercase House. All right. Next, student with the small s not equal to student with the capital S since they are not equal. That's true. Now, for the last one, A greater than B. With all honesty, I don't know the answer to this because I am not comparing strings using a greater than or equal sign. And why is that? If you've noticed, strings are not numbers, right? So how can we determine which is bigger, which is smaller if they are not numbers? Only numbers have quantity. So numbers or things that have quantity can be compared to each other, which is bigger, which is smaller. But for strings, we can only compare if they are equal or not equal. So this one will not, it will not really produce an error. There is an actual answer there. It will either be true or false. But like I've said, I don't know. Because if you force a string to be compared to another string using greater than or equal, the computer will substitute the string and make it an actual literal number. So some substitutions will happen and it will provide an answer. Ultimately, there will be numbers, substituted numbers that will be compared. So therefore, it will have an answer that is either true or false. But then again, you should not be comparing strings using a greater than or equal sign because we do not know what those numbers that will be substituted is. So if we do not know the numbers, the outcome is very, very unpredictable. So when we use strings for comparison, we only use the equal or not equal symbol. Now let's do your activity. This will be a group work, maybe up to 3 persons. Or if you are an ODL student, you just do it on your own. You find the truth value of these 5 statements. There is a given. A is 5, B is 3, C is 5, D is 8. So try to predict what is the truth value for every item. And you just send your work to Schoology to determine if it is correct or incorrect. Thank you so much. Do your activity now.